series of amendments. I'll start with Chair Cagle for the A19.
Oh, we're not offering that one right now.
I'll start with
That's late. 820.
the 820 with Chair O'Driscoll. The 824, sorry. All right. Mr. Chair, you said the 824? Yeah, I think that there may need to be some clarification on this, and I guess I would defer before we move this to have maybe nonpartisan staff explain some potential changes or in the language. I know that there are some things we're working on, so before we move forward with that.
Well, Mr. Chair, I have
Sure.
a motion to the 824.
Let's get it offered first, if we could. Do you want to offer it?
I will offer the 824.
Okay, to the 824, Chair Cagle.
If nonpartisan staff can explain it, I know, then I will speak to the oral amendment.
Ms. Severson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Would you like me to explain the modification to the 824 or the 824 itself?
Both, please.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The 824 amendment is largely a technical amendment that relates to a provision in the bill on data sharing. It changes a reference to healthcare taxes that currently exists in the language to taxes imposed under section 295.52. That section references to our provider tax section. And then it also adds a paragraph D into the Department of Revenue statutes that simply clarifies within their statutes that they're allowed to provide this information.
Questions on the 824 as offered? And then Chair Cagle.
So I would make a motion, oral amendment to on line 1.5, delete everything after 295.52 and put a period following that.
Council, can you report the oral amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Cagle moves to amend the A24 amendment to House File number 4188 in Conference Committee as follows. Page 1, line 5, delete everything after 295.52.
Questions on the oral amendment? All in favor of the oral amendment to the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is adopted. We're on the underlying A24 as amended. Further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is adopted. Now, I think I've got my ducks in a row here. We will go to Representative O'Driscoll for the A17.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The A17 amendment provides some clarification on the liquor bill that was passed by the Senate, the House this year, and signed by the governor. It has been brought to our attention that the enactment date for this is August 1st, and one of the things that was in here was a provision that was very popular among the members of the House and the Senate and the legislature, and that was what we classically called the Granny Happy Hour. Upon further review with the red flag on the field, we would like to be able to change the date from August 1st to July 1st so that folks who live in nursing homes and residential facilities and assisted living would be able to have alcohol available at a 4th of July 250th anniversary celebration of the country, and we just think that this is good public policy to just change that enactment date. Not a blessed thing is changing on that from the majority. There are just 3 of them, and perhaps nonpartisan could identify all 3 of those, but that was the main driver, was the Granny Happy Hour, which has kind of got a life of its own around here this session. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Severson, can you tell us about the 3 liquor provisions that will have altered effective dates?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As Representative O'Driscoll spoke to, one of the sections is the happy hour provision. The other 2 sections I will have to check on, as they are not in this, the language in front of us.
Ms. Popovich.
Chair and members, I believe the remaining 2 provisions, one relates to coolers and non-alcoholic beverages, and the other relates to, it's not recreational facilities, it's
Resorts.
resorts. There we go.
Further questions or discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the A17, say aye. Aye. Opposed? It is adopted. I will go to Chair Cagle for A20.
The A20 is amending some of the notification language, and it would put the fee or the penalties into the victim's crime account.
Further discussion or questions on that? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is adopted. We will go to Chair O'Driscoll for the A22.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I move the A22 amendment. This is providing a series of technical corrections that was brought to us by the Department of Commerce dealing with reinsurance and the current administration of that. And so I would encourage a yes vote on the A22, Mr. Chair.
Chair O'Driscoll offers the A22. Discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is adopted. And then Chair Cagle for the A23.
That I will move the A23 amendment. This is an amendment that has to do with including residential mortgage originators and servicers into Chapter 58.
Chair Cagle offers the A23. Questions or discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is adopted. I will go to Senator Seeberger for two motions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that to adopt Senate Article 4, Sections 8 through 12.
Council describe the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One moment here. Senate Article 4, Sections 8 to 12 relate to the prohibition against the sale of cats and dogs and a couple of conforming chains related to that section.
Members, this is the Senate language that creates a prohibition on pet stores with a grandfather of the existing businesses. Further discussion on that motion? Chair Cagle.
Mr. Chair, I'd request a roll call.
Roll call requested and granted. Further discussion? Chair O'Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I recommend a no vote on the motion.
Further discussion? The clerk will take the roll.
Chair Kline,
Yes.
Vice Chair Seeberger,
Yes.
Senator Duckworth,
Yes.
Senator Frentz,
Yes.
Co-Chair Cagle,
Yes.
Co-Chair O'Driscoll,
No.
Representative Elkins,
Yes.
Representative Perryman.
No. There.
The motion did not obtain 3 votes on the House side, and it fails. Chair, Representative Senator Seeberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to adopt Senate Article 4, Section 13 to 14.
Council will report the amendment to the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Article 4, Sections 13 to 14 relate to restricting minors' access to chatbots. It provides remedies and enforcement by the Attorney General and then requires a transition period as well.
Members, this is Senate language prohibiting chatbots from interacting with minors. Discussion on the motion. Chair O'Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is, I believe, a provision that's going to be somewhat problematic to enforce, and I want to just underscore the comments I made yesterday about the need for the legislature and the department to start looking at developing new statute and maybe even the legislature establishing a separate committee or division to start looking at technology, AI issues, and the like. And at this time, I would recommend a no vote by members.
Further
Mr. Chair,
discussion?
I request a roll call.
Roll call granted. Further discussion? Clerk will take the roll.
Chair Kline,
Yes.
Vice Chair Seeberger,
Yes.
Senator Duckworth,
Yes.
Senator Frentz,
Yes.
Co-Chair Cagle,
Yes.
Co-Chair O'Driscoll,
No.
Representative Elkins,
Yes.
Representative Perryman,
No.
The motion fails with insufficient votes on the House side. Members, I believe, Chair O'Driscoll.
Mr. Chair, I think that Senator Duckworth may have a motion that's coming forward here.
Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Chair O'Driscoll, and thank you, Chair Kline. I would make it, I might need help with this, but I'm going to give it my best shot here. I move that Article 9, Section 35 of the Senate language be adopted.
Ms. Severson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Article 9, Section 35 relates to paddle reel prizes and establishes the maximum value of a merchandise prize that may be awarded for a paddle ticket.
Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. In the spirit of some of the other things that have already passed, specifically bumping up the date for Granny Happy Hour, I would imagine at a happy hour, if you're a grandma, you might also want to participate in a meat raffle. And there are charities and other organizations, all the like, that would love to see the legislature come together, both Republican and Democrat, to pass this provision, to make it law, to set aside any other things that might be happening and actually, you know, score one for the people of Minnesota. So if we could add this provision to the conference, what committee am I in right now? Just kidding. The Commerce Conference Committee, that would be fantastic, Mr. Chair. There's a lot of support for it, and I would plead and beg members to please vote in favor of this provision. Thank you.
The chair of the Senate side is an enthusiastic yes on this motion. Chair Cagle.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to have to encourage a no vote. As much as I love my meat raffles and want to get a big tenderloin when I go to my den of charitable gambling in Spring Lake Park. Right now, we also have an outstanding issue with the sweepstakes. And so I have an amendment that is being drafted that would offer all three of the sweepstakes, Heffenpfeffer and the paddle wheel. And so I would urge my members not to support this motion and support the next, or the one that will come in the afternoon.
Chair O'Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like a roll call on this vote.
Roll call
and I
granted.
encourage members to support the Duckworth motion this morning.
Further discussion? Clerk will take the roll on the paddle wheel motion.
Chair Kline,
Yes.
Vice Chair Seaberger,
Yes.
Senator Duckworth,
Yes, please.
Senator Friends,
Yes.
Co-Chair Cagle,
No.
Co-Chair O'Driscoll,
Yes.
Representative Elkins,
No.
Representative Perryman.
Yes.
The motion fails with insufficient votes on the House side. Further motions or amendments? Just recess? Yeah. Members will recess to the call of the chair.